A wet mystery. Mother and father living in the north of Canada went shopping, leaving their teenage son home. He said he wanted to mount his new TV on the wall. They were halfway to the mall when Mother remembered she'd left the iron plugged in. They returned and found the house freezing cold. Mother turned on central heating again, and they left for good. When they came back after a while, there was water dripping from the ceiling on the first floor, and on the second, their son was lying unconscious in a pool of water on the floor, and the TV was hanging on the wall askew. Can you guess what happened? The young man hauled a big chunk of ice upstairs to stand on it while he mounted the TV. He turned off the heat for the ice to stay frozen, but when his mom turned it on again, the chunk melted and the boy slipped and fell. A code number. A detective who had been mere days away from cracking an international criminal gang has suddenly gone missing. But he was smart enough to try and help the investigators in their search by leaving one clue, more specifically, a special code: 710-5773-54-5508-517718. The police have 3 prime suspects: John, Bill, and Adam. Can you break the detective's code and help the police arrest the right criminal? The numbers in the detective's code represent letters. If you read the message upside down, you'll notice that it says, "Bill is boss. He sells oil." So, Bill's your guy, Coffin boys. A lousy alibi. A man had been strolling through the park when someone suddenly hit him on the back of the head. Witnesses say the culprit had brown hair, blue eyes, and was wearing a baggy suit. The main suspect is Sean Baker, who matches the description perfectly. The police interrogate Sean, who gives his account of what happened. "I was just hanging out in the park, and I saw this man walking along the pathway. Then some other guy suddenly sprang out of the shrubs right in front of him and hit him. I ran home as fast as I could." The police ask him to give a description of the attacker. He answers, he had a red mustache, red hair, and a baggy suit on. However, one of the investigators says Sean is lying. How does he know? Sean claims that the attacker came up in front of the man, but that's complete nonsense. The man had been hit on the back of his head. Strange noises. Amy and Carl were lying in bed at night when they heard weird noises from their daughter Stacy's bedroom. Amy went to see and carefully opened the door, but saw her teenage daughter fast asleep and the noise stopped. The next night, it all happened again, and in the morning, Amy found a snakeskin lying under Emily's bed. Alarmed, the family searched the whole house but couldn't find the snake that left it. Still, the sound persisted every night. Can you guess where the snake was hiding? It was in the walls. At night, when it was quiet, the snake would crawl out in the open, but when everyone woke up again, it hid inside the pipes and between the boards. A careless granddaughter. Sally went to the drugstore to get some meds for her grandma. The pharmacist looked at the prescription and handed her 4 identical pills, 2 for pressure and another 2 for her legs. He warned Sally that Grandma should take 1 of each kind a few hours before bedtime. The girl nodded and dropped the pills into her bag. As she got home, Sally realized what she did wrong. There were 4 completely identical pills in her bag, all mixed up. But when it was time for Grandma to take the pills, Sally figured a way out. What did she do? The only way out of this situation is to split all the pills in half and take one half of each pill. This way, Grandma will definitely get the right meds. The chicken matter. Sally's grandma, yep, that same one, got 3 hens that gave her 3 eggs in 3 days. When Sally found this out, she decided selling eggs could be a good business. So she got her grandma 12 more hens of the same kind. Sally can't wait to get her profit, who wouldn't be? But she's not that great at math. Can you help her figure out how many eggs Grandma will get in the next 15 days? Three hens brought Grandma 3 eggs in 3 days. It means 1 hen brings 1 egg once in 3 days. So it'll give 5 eggs in 15 days. Now that we've got 15 hens, we can easily multiply the numbers and get 75 eggs in 15 days. A window to freedom. Jack is thrown in a cell with a dirt floor and only one window positioned so high no one could reach it. The cell is empty except for a shovel. It's dry and hot in there, but Jack won't get any food or drink anytime soon. He has only 2 days to break out of his cell. Digging a tunnel would take at least a week. How should Jack escape? He should use the shovel to make a pile of dirt under the window, climb on it, and escape from the cell. Seriously, who secures prisoners this way? Back to school. On the first day of the school year, a geography teacher vanished. The police had as many as 4 suspects. They were the gardener, the math teacher, the coach, and the school principal. The sticking point was that they all had alibis. The gardener was cutting bushes. The math teacher was holding a mid-year test. The coach was playing basketball. The principal was in the office with parents of one of the students. Despite this, the culprit was arrested immediately. Can you guess how the police solved the mystery? The math teacher was lying. According to his words, he was holding a mid-year test, but the geography teacher disappeared on the first day of the school year. Late delivery. A lonely old man lived in his house in the suburbs of a city. He led a quiet life and never left his dwelling for long. It was a midsummer Friday when the mail carrier walked by and called out for the man. There was no answer coming from inside the house. The carrier looked into the window and, oh no! He saw the house was a total mess, and the owner was nowhere to be seen. When the police arrived, they found a Tuesday's newspaper, 2 bottles of warm milk, and 1 bottle of cold milk. The next day, the robber was arrested. How did the police find out who it was so quickly? It was obviously the mail carrier. He knew that no one in that house would read a newspaper on Wednesday or Thursday. That's why he only came on Friday. There's chemistry between them. A famous chemist went missing. There was no evidence found except for a piece of paper with the names of chemical substances on it. On the day he disappeared, the chemist had only 3 visitors: his wife, Mary, his nephew, Nicholas, and his friend, Jonathan. The police looked at the note and arrested the culprit right away. Who was it, and how did they find it out? It was Nicholas, the chemist's nephew. If you combine the short names of the chemical substances on the paper, you'll get his name: Nicolas. An untouchable car. A man was found unconscious in his own car. The police found a rock near the man, and it was obvious he had been hit on the head with it. But the car windows were intact, and the door was locked. How could someone throw a rock into the car without damaging it? The car was a convertible, and when the rock was thrown, the roof had been down. A public collapse. One city was having a rough patch. Its schools, hotels, and public transport weren't functioning because of a strike that had already lasted for several weeks. One night, someone hit the mayor of the city over the head. The man was rushed to a hospital, and the police arrested 3 suspects. Brandon stated that he had been walking along the street when he heard someone scream, but it was too dark and he couldn't see anything. John confirmed that he had heard a call for help as well, but he was too scared to check it out. As for Dylan, he claimed that he had been waiting for a bus at a bus stop and hadn't heard anything. Who attacked the mayor? It was Dylan. He couldn't be waiting for a bus since they hadn't been running for several weeks because of the strike. 2 best friends, Jack and Tyler, went to a tropical island to surf and have some rest. After an active day at sea, they bought a large watermelon and ate it. In an hour or so, Tyler felt unwell and lost consciousness. Luckily, he was taken to a hospital in time. The doctors there managed to save his life. But Jack couldn't wrap his mind around what had happened. Both guys ate the same watermelon. Tyler didn't have any kind of an allergy. Then how come Jack was perfectly fine? Jack didn't eat watermelon seeds, and Tyler did. Whatever substance poisoned him was in the seeds. Jerry got a job as a security guard at a supermarket. On his first day, he heard an alarm go off when a young woman was leaving the store. He stopped her and asked whether she had a receipt. She did, so Jerry checked it and the girl's bag. Everything looked okay, but the man still called the police. Why? The date on the receipt was wrong. The girl had bought all the products the day before and then came back the next day to steal the same stuff. A wealthy businessman was poisoned at a restaurant. When the police arrived, they questioned all other visitors who were there at that time. Albert said he'd been talking on the phone with his brother. Judy told the police she had been waiting in a bathroom line. Diana said she had been writing a report for her boss. And Philip said he had been putting on his clothes, ready to leave. Who's the culprit? It's Judy. Besides her, there were only 3 other visitors in the restaurant, and all of them were busy. There couldn't be any bathroom line. Catherine was a maid at the Smith's house. One day, she called the police and asked them to come as soon as possible. When they arrived, the woman told the officers the house owners were away on vacation. She was the only one to look after the house. In the morning, she went grocery shopping. On her way back, a man in a mask ran up to her and made her open the door and let him in. He tied Catherine to a chair, took all the valuables he could find, and sneaked out of the house. The woman started to shout for help. After some time, a passerby heard her shouting, entered the house, and untied her. Then he went away without leaving his name or phone number. After the detective heard this story, he arrested Catherine. Why? The Smith's house is away from the town, in a forest. There aren't likely to be any passers-by in that area. Plus, the fence is high and thick. Even if Catherine had been shouting, no one would have heard her. Janice rented an apartment with 3 other girls. Once, her mom came to visit her. She gave her daughter some money. Janice put the bills under a book lying on her desk and went to see her mom off. When she returned, there was no money in the room. The girl questioned her neighbors. Natalie answered she had just returned from her morning run. Brittany told Janice she'd wanted to read the book. After taking it, she put the money in the middle drawer. Kayla said she had entered the room just once to look for her scarf. Who took the money? It was Brittany. The desk has no middle drawer. A unique diamond was exhibited in a popular museum. No wonder it was guarded day and night. Only small groups of people were allowed to enter the room with the diamond. One of such groups had just left when the security guards heard a shrill alarm go off. They dashed inside and found a man who seemed to be as shocked as they were. The diamond was in its place. The guards searched the man and found nothing unusual: a phone, a wallet, a lighter, a bottle with water, and a camera. They let the man go. But soon it was announced the diamond had been stolen. What happened? The man replaced the real thing with a fake gem. After that, he hid the famous diamond in his bottle with water. Two girls, Tina and Betty, got lost in the forest. After some time, each of them found a clearing with lots of berries growing there. By that moment, the girls had been starving. They decided to snack on the berries. But for one of them, it's going to be a grave mistake. Which girl is that? Betty is eating the berries from endangered plants. She's not supposed to do it, but they won't make her sick. Tina is munching on the berries that have knocked off a bird. It means they might be poisonous for the girl too. Uh-oh. Maria was walking down the street when someone slammed into her. It was a man who immediately started to apologize. The girl looked at him attentively and said, "It's okay, Mark." How come she knew the man's name if he wasn't a celebrity and she had never seen him before? Maria knew the man's name because he was her friend's twin brother. Eric needs to get some documents from his colleague's safe. If he doesn't, he'll get fired the next day. But it turns out to be a tricky task. The safe has a password, and Eric has no idea how to crack it. It's a combination of letters OTTFFSS, with the last three letters missing. What are they? The missing letters are E and T. All of them are the first letters of the numbers from 1 to 10. One evening, Christian went to the backyard to enjoy some peanut cookies. He didn't want to leave any crumbs inside the house because his wife was allergic to nuts. But when the man opened the bag, he found just one cookie. Christian questioned his three kids. Alice, the eldest, puffed, "Don't you remember I'm on a diet?" Kelly, the middle child, said, "I was studying upstairs. I didn't have time for cookies." And Joe, the youngest, answered he had been too busy helping his mom to make a peanut butter cake. So, who gobbled down Christian's sweets? It was Joe. Christian's wife is allergic to nuts. It would be too risky to make a cake with peanut butter. A rich man's house was burgled. Strangely, the thieves didn't take anything except for one painting. When the police arrived, the confused house owner told them he had bought the canvas at auction. It didn't cost much. He had no idea why the criminals had chosen to steal it. Pretty soon, the police detectives figure out what was so special about the painting. Can you? It wasn't about the painting itself, but about its expensive and unique frame. Mr. Johnson disliked modern art. One day, he ran into the City Art Museum and caused damage to several paintings, which cost millions of dollars. Instead of being arrested, though, he was invited to the manager of the gallery. The man started to thank Mr. Johnson and promised he would be rewarded. How come? Mr. Johnson was a firefighter. The water he used to put out the flames damaged several masterpieces, but he still managed to extinguish the fire, saving many more precious exhibits.